Welcome back to my channel. So it's been a while. We have a lot to talk about. So I have been busy with work, I've been sick, I've been dog watching, just yada yada yada. I haven't had time to just sit down and film. And I was getting overwhelmed with the way I was doing it in the beginning where I was reading like a couple chapters and then filming, so I was having to film like every couple days. And it was just too much. So I decided to just read until I had time to film again, and now I have pretty much gotten to the end of book 2. I'm actually halfway through the end of the Kaladin chapter, and I have one more chapter that focuses on Adolin and Dalinar, and then that's the end of book 2. But I thought it would be fun to talk here before I read the end of those chapters, because I'm assuming there's going to be cliffhangers or like a big reveal or something like that. So it'd be fun to see if I can guess what it is. So beforehand I was going through every single chapter, but I think this time I'll just talk about each character, because this book focuses on 3 of the characters, Kaladin, Adolin, and Dalinar, so I'll just talk about each one. So at the beginning of book 2, we get some Adolin and Dalinar chapters, and Adolin, we find out, is the son of Dalinar, and we get some chapters where we get more in depth of how the family works in between they're the royal family basically, so we get more depth of how they work together. Adolin is dealing with a bunch of courtship, so that's kind of like almost like the comic relief in this part. And Adolin, like pretty much everyone else, does not believe Dalinar's visions that he's having. Like, they basically think he's getting old and he's going a bit crazy. No one believes him. And at the beginning of book 2, they're fighting the Chasm Fiend, and Elokar like falls because his saddle breaks. So there's this whole bit of Adolin is trying to figure out if the saddle was cut intentionally or if it was an accident. So that's what Adolin's busy with. And that's pretty much it for Adolin. This book more focuses on Dalinar, and we even get a full chapter on him having a vision, and the chapter is his vision, so we get to see what he's actually experiencing when he has one of these. And he knows he's having a vision. It's not a thing where he's in the vision and he's just going along with it. He knows he's not actually there, and he's a person in the vision, but he's not actually that person. He's aware of everything, and he's getting like talked to by someone in the vision. And I've only read Mistborn 1 and 2 within Brandon Sanderson books, so I don't know too much of what's going on, but I have watched and read a bit of the Sanderson stuff, and I know that his Cosmere series, there's like an overarching theme or what have you, and some things overlap. And I noticed that Dalinar is having a person talking to him, which is similar to in Mistborn. There's a character that has like voices in his head, so I'm wondering if it's the same thing. And Dalinar is basically being told to unite them, so he thinks it's about uniting all of the different high princes and uniting all the different princes together, and making it actually a united country. Because how they're going right now, being on the Shattered Plains, they even mention that it's like a game, that they're always trying to race to get to the gem heart first. There's no teamwork within these 10 different high princes. Like, they're all trying to beat one another to get the gem heart. And Dalinar is also realizing that this can't continue, that there needs to be an end put to this. And he's constantly talking about the old book, The Way of Kings, which again, people think he's crazy and lost it because it's such a ancient book that no one uses anymore. But he thinks that it's very important also because Gavilar, the king that died, also thought that the book had great use. And he's basically saying that like this can't continue, we need to find a solution, and he thinks uniting them could be the solution, but Adolin doesn't think much of Dalinar's opinion. And so the last chapter I read with Adolin and Dalinar, they're running to a gem heart and they beat the Parshendi, but Dalinar has a vision. Dalinar has a moment where he's completely revulsed by everything he sees, like by the war path, like all the death and just disgustingness of like what he's looking at, all the blood and guts and everything. But then he manages to get past that and to continue, because he's like, what else am I supposed to do? I can't just stop fighting. Also because he has a shard plate and he's a shard bearer. And that's pretty much where we're at with Dalinar. I'm thinking there's one more chapter before book 2 ends, so I think the way it's going, I feel like Dalinar might be pushed to step down as one of the High Princes, because that last vision that he had, a lot of people saw him, so it's gone from rumor to fact that he's having episodes. So I think he's going to be asked to be brought down. And also because with that whole saddle maybe being cut on purpose, and Sadeas has kind of overtaken that investigation, I think Sadeas is going to accuse Dalinar of being the one who cut the strap, the girth, whatever it was that got cut. So I think Dalinar, maybe he'll go to jail or something, what they have for jail. Maybe he'll become a slave of some sort. And so that's everything for Adolin and Dalinar. And then my favorite storyline so far, which is Kaladin. And Kaladin, since I last talked about him, he's trying to be a better leader, a bridge leader, and the chapters have been showing his effort in that, and it's actually going good so far. And he's starting to get a bit of a found family, so he's kind of become friends with Rock and Teft. And my favorite character so far in the series is Rock. I've kept track of, like, he doesn't say much, but pretty much everything Rock says is funny. Like, I love the scene where they say, well, Rock can't be your real name. Like, what's your actual real name? And he's like, none of you guys would be able to pronounce it. And I was expecting something like, 2-3 syllables that was just like awkward spelling of some sort. But it ends up being, what's your real name then? Teft asked. You won't be able to say it. Teft raised an eyebrow. Numu Hukumakiyaki I Lunamore, Rock said. So I was not expecting that at all. I'm not one to have a lot of emotion when I read. I'm pretty blank slate when I read. I actually laughed out loud at that moment, so Rock is my favorite. But as far as the Kaladin storyline, so we're also getting a bit more of chapters from the past where he has learned how to become a surgeon from his dad. Because in the current, he managed to save 3 people from being killed when they do the last bridge run. And he does some stuff to save them. He does some surgery, quick things here and there to tend to them. And then, so we get some chapters in the past of him working as a surgeon alongside his father. And we see the first time he tries to take care of someone and the person dies and how he reacts to that. And basically why he doesn't want to become a surgeon, because he cares too much. And then on top of that, so we have the found family. And then in the last chapter I'm reading, I haven't finished it yet because I think something fun is going to happen. They're on chasm duty, where they go down into the chasms and they have to find and take back whatever they can. Arrows, armor, whatever they can find really. and this is probably my favorite chapter so far because we're getting the friendship forming between the three of them, and there's another bridgeman that's kind of warming up to them, and the world building too. Just the description of the chasm is like, it's amazing. They're just basically walking along the chasm, so I think they're going to run into maybe a chasm fiend. They're going to run into something. It's not just going to be a chapter of them just idling around and then, okay, we're done for the day, let's go back up, and nothing happens. I think something's going to happen. Or maybe there's like an unheard, maybe they run into Parshendi. That would be interesting. Maybe they're like down there. Or just another race that they've never heard of or seen of before. That could be interesting too. But yeah, the Kaladin chapters are my favorite so far. I think now there's going to be a couple interlude chapters, and then we're going to get more Shallan, because I've been missing out on Shallan. She wasn't in book 2 at all, but I think book 3 I had seen that it's Shallan and Kaladin focused, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, predictions for what's coming. Since it's Shallan, it's going to be about her trying to plot how to get Jasna's Soulcaster. And Kaladin, I love the found family bonding forming. I'm super interested into that. I'm definitely more into the Kaladin because it's less political. Obviously the Adolin and Dalinar chapters are more political, which for me, I'm like not interested as much. I'm more interested in the world building and just the character development between people. Oh, and I want to know if Dalinar's visions are, what they're leading to, because the way they're written, I'm not like Adolin at all. Like, I'm assuming that these are real and actually mean something, because they're not just random happenstance, like that they just happen randomly throughout the day. They only happen when high storms happen. And because we got a chapter of exactly what he's experiencing, like these things are real. So I want to know what they mean, what they lead to. My hope is that they're about uniting them so that in the end this war will end, and maybe a new country will form out of all this or something. But I have a lot to read. I think I'll do a wrap-up after I finish the interlude chapters, because there's only going to be 3, so that'll be a quick one. And then I might continue with this format with doing one book at a time, because it gives me a lot more time to actually read a lot without having to make a ton of videos, because I work full-time, and on top of that I'm preparing for an audition in the fall, so I have a lot on my plate right now. So I think if I do the bigger chunks, like just doing the books, it's a lot more manageable for me, and I won't end up just putting it off like I have with this one. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed me ranting about this book. I can see why people really love this book, and that a lot of people, it's their favorite series or favorite fantasy series, because I can see it becoming one of mine if the book continues the way it is. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.